Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Arsenal star Takahiro Tomiyasu now attracting interest from other English clubs. Arsenal defender Takahiro Tomiyasu frustrated at a lack of game time and is now attracting interest from other clubs. Tomiyasu is yet to start a game for Arsenal this season, with Mikel Arteta opting to play Ben White in an unfamiliar right-back position. The Japanese international has been involved in the majority of Arsenal's games, but only from the bench. Understandably, a player of Tomiyasu's caliber will be desperate to play more regular. And according to journalist Akram Connor on Twitter, he is becoming increasingly frustrated at the lack of game time. With Arteta playing a central defender out of position over Tomiyasu, it's understandable that he is frustrated at a lack of game time. There is no doubt Arsenal will be desperate to keep hold of him due to squad depth, but if he actively pushes for a move, they may reluctantly allow him to leave. The report from Connor claims that English and French clubs are showing an interest in the defender, so it will be interesting to see whether someone makes a move in the January transfer window, but to be honest, I don't think that Arsenal will allow him to leave. Paul Merson thinks Martin Odegaard is better than Phil Foden. Arsenal legend Paul Merson has ranked Gunners captain Martin Odegaard at number 5 in his Sportskida list of the Premier League's top midfielders. The 23-year-old has made a huge impact at the Emirates Stadium since his initial loan move in January 2021. Arsenal subsequently snapped the Norway captain up from Real Madrid that summer for a reported £34 million. Odegaard has played 67 games for the Gunners and established himself as one of their most consistent players. His goal contribution tally has been impressive too. He has 12 goals and 7 assists to his name in red and white. Odegaard has hit the ground running as Arsenal captain too. He has helped the team go top of the Premier League table after 7 games, scoring 3 goals along the way. Merson named Odegaard in his top 5 list, while the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Phil Foden and Mason Mount missed out. At the moment, I will put Martin Odegaard at 5 because he's taken Arsenal to another level this season, he wrote. He's got a swagger about the way he plays and moves, while he's also added goals to his game. Odegaard has been around for a while, so it's easy to forget he is only 23. The fact that he is Arsenal's captain at such a young age shows how highly Mikel Arteta rates him. I like Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Phil Foden and the likes, but Odegaard is someone who has already made a massive impact this season. He plays in a position where he has to make things happen, and he's done just that as Arsenal find themselves at the top of the Premier League table with 18 points from 7 games. Peter Crouch says he'd love to have played alongside Arsenal star Gabriel Jesus. Peter Crouch has said on his podcast that he'd love to have played alongside Arsenal forward Gabriel Jesus. The Gunners brought the Brazil international to the Emirates Stadium from Manchester City in the summer. Arsenal got themselves their top target up front, a world-class, proven striker in the prime of his career, and Jesus has hit the ground running under Mikel Arteta with 4 goals and 3 assists so far this season. Crouch, a Premier League and England international cult hero, sang the Arsenal newcomers' praises. The 41-year-old liked Jesus' unselfish nature and feels he'd have scored plenty in a front two with the Gunners' ace. Crouch, speaking on his podcast, responded when asked about which striker he'd most like to play with. I think it would be either Firmino or Jesus, he said, as transcribed by Sportskida. For me, they are unselfish. Players I could play with and feed off. They sacrifice themselves. You have to be selfish, and I would be selfish in this scenario. Crouch added that while he would have loved to play with Manchester City's Erling Haaland, he doesn't think he and the Norwegian would complement each other. Playing with Haaland would be great, he continued, but I don't think we'd complement each other and he'd probably score more than me. Giorgio Kalini says Arsenal star Bukayo Saka is too fast for him. Italy legend Giorgio Chiellini has claimed that Arsenal winger Bukayo Saka is too fast for him. The 38-year-old who plays his football in the MLS with Los Angeles FC these days has finally broken his silence on his infamous challenge on Saka at the Euro 2020 final between Italy and England last year. Italy won the Euros last year and it was heartbreaking for Saka in the end after his penalty was saved in the shootout at Wembley. The Englishman, however, could have had a say much earlier in the game. The 38-year-old told The Times, "I never thought this pulling Saka back could be the memory of this summer. For me, okay, I did a mistake and a foul in the smartest and best way possible because I think I can protect the ball and let it go out. But he passed me under my arm and the first thing I see is to try and grab him. Saka is too fast for me. If I started 1 or 2 moments before, I can run with him. But if he goes, it's impossible. This is a good choice for me after a mistake." As bad as it was, Chiellini was right to do what he did, and that moment probably helped his side win the Euros. The veteran is no longer a part of the Italian national team. He will, however, be watching his countrymen take on England in Milan tonight, and Saka will definitely want to come out on top this time. The youngster missed the decisive penalty in the shootout at Wembley last year, and he was subjected to vile abuse on social media following the final. Saka has come a long way since, and he'd love nothing more than to score a goal against the Italians at the San Siro tonight. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester City want to sign Alex Baena from Villarreal. According to Spanish outlet Sport, Arsenal and Liverpool are among 4 Premier League clubs interested in signing Villarreal youngster Alex Baena. The 21-year-old winger has impressed everybody in La Liga this season. He has scored 6 goals and provided 2 assists in just 4 starts so far, and multiple clubs have registered an interest in him now. Emery showed during his time at Arsenal that he's not scared to give opportunities to young players. The likes of Matteo Guendouzi, Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka were all handed their Arsenal debuts by the Spaniard, and all 3 of them have become fantastic players today. Emery is following the same philosophy at Villarreal. After letting Baena spend last season on loan at Girona, he has integrated the young winger into the first team, and the 21-year-old has been a revelation this season. The report claims that Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester City are all interested in signing Baena. He seems to have impressed scouts at all of those clubs, but Emery isn't willing to let him go. Baena has a contract at Villarreal until 2025 and a release clause that makes him available for just over £30 million. Emery is desperate to increase that figure in his contract and is pushing his board to offer him a new deal. The last club Emery would want to lose Baena to is Arsenal, who sacked him back in 2019. Baena is a phenomenal talent. His numbers tell us that the youngster, despite only starting 4 games, has scored 6 goals in all competitions, more than what Gabriel Jesus has managed at Arsenal since the start of the campaign. In La Liga this term, Baena averages a goal every 63 minutes. That's a better return in the league than superstars like Kylian Mbappe 84, Neymar 78 and Lionel Messi 178, which is a remarkable stat. It will be interesting to see how this pans out in the coming months, but if Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester City are all serious about signing Baena, it's extremely unlikely that Villarreal will be able to stop them. Arsenal in hotly contested race to sign Croatian midfielder. Arsenal are in a hotly contested race to sign Croatian midfielder Lovro Meyer from Rennes, with Thomas Partey regularly suffering from injuries. Bringing in a midfielder in January could be a priority for Mikel Arteta during the January transfer window. Mohamed Elneny also suffered an injury early in the season, meaning Arsenal have a lack of options in midfield. Now, according to Vigaches, Arsenal will face competition from Barcelona and Real Madrid, amongst others, to sign Rennes midfielder Meyer. Meyer is a highly rated attacking midfielder, and it's no surprise to see some of Europe's elite keeping tabs on him. Working under Mikel Arteta at Arsenal is an exciting prospect at the moment, especially considering how willing he is to give young players a chance to express themselves. Arsenal currently sit at the top of the Premier League, having only lost 1 game so far this season, winning the rest. Despite this, there is no doubt they will still need reinforcement over the next 12 months if they want to continue to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool at the top of the league. Arsenal scout watched Mykhaylo Mudryk on international duty. Arsenal scouts were in attendance as Ukraine faced Scotland at Hampden Park on Wednesday, with 90 Minutes reporting that the Gunners watched Mykhaylo Mudryk in action. The Nations League clash did not prove to be Modric's finest day. Steve Clarke's men scored 3 times in the second half to get some revenge for their World Cup playoff defeat earlier this year, but Modric, who has been described as a serious talent, is certainly one player who is entitled to have an off night. He has made an electric start to the campaign with Shakhtar Donetsk. The 21-year-old has scored 2 goals and provided 2 assists in 2 Champions League games. He stole the show against RB Leipzig in the opener before also scoring against Celtic. Of course, there has been plenty of speculation linking Modric with Arsenal in recent weeks. Fabrizio Romano reported that the Gunners approached his representatives in the summer. Modric, meanwhile, claimed that he would not be able to say no to an offer from Arsenal, and it seems that Mikel Arteta's men are considering putting that thought to the test. According to 90 Minutes, a raft of Premier League sides had scouts in attendance for Ukraine's clash with Scotland, and while a number of names could have been being looked at, 90 Minutes makes it clear that Arsenal's representative was there to watch Modric. The advantage of watching Modric against Scotland is that he will have come up against a number of Premier League players in the game, including Kieran Tierney. Nathan Patterson started at right back for the home side. In fact, 8 of the starting 11 call England's top flight home at club level, so it would have been a good test for Modric. Ultimately, it was not his finest night, but he is clearly an exceptional talent who could improve significantly, and Arsenal's opinion on his potential will not be based on one performance. Arsenal tipped to move for another Manchester City player. Arsenal has sensationally been linked with a move for Jack Grealish. The English attacker joined Manchester City for £100 million in the last campaign from Aston Villa. He has been a mainstay in their team so far, but City has depth and he often faces a spell on the bench. The England international remains a key player for them, but VegaChess.net surprisingly claims he wants to leave the Etihad. Not many clubs can afford him now, and City is not a selling club. Yet, the report says the attacker could be on the move. It admits it would not be easy for any club to land him, but claims Arsenal is one of the favourites to add him to their squad. Adding Grealish to our squad could instantly turn us into title winners, but this transfer would be hard to pull off. The Englishman has been consistently good over the years, even though we expect more from him at City. The citizens have only gotten a season from him, so we must be prepared to break the bank to add him to our squad. However, it's exciting to picture him in an Arsenal shirt and playing at the Emirates. Manchester United and Arsenal continue to monitor Serie A midfielder. Manchester United and Arsenal are continuing to monitor Lazio midfielder Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. That's according to VegaChess, who claim that Lazio are yet to reach an agreement with Milinkovic-Savic over a new contract. The report claims he is considering leaving the club, hence why a new deal is yet to be signed. Manchester United, Arsenal and PSG are the 3 clubs reportedly showing an interest in the midfielder. Milinkovic-Savic's contract expires in 2024, so the next 12 months will be pivotal in deciding his future. Both Arsenal and Manchester United are likely to be in the market for a new midfielder in the coming months. Arsenal have depth issues, especially considering Thomas Partey has struggled with regular injuries. Mohamed El-Neni is also currently out injured, leaving Mikel Arteta with lack of options. Manchester United are on an excellent run of form with a midfield 2 of Christian Eriksen and Scott McTominay, but there is no doubt Erik ten Hag will be looking for improvements, particularly if they continue their form and eventually qualify for the Champions League. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.